working.
Okay, let me see if I can get Me6 recording working.
Do you recommend just to watch the, or just to have the live Twitch full screen while we do this? Oh, okay, cool. Oh yeah, it's muted.
Okay. Okay. Yep. So we should be able to do this. All right, test 1 2 3. Oh wait, we should do the same test that we do for Craig. It's like fuck you, Me6. There we go. Fair enough. I have coffee with me this week, so that's good.
We officially going in the with that countdown. Oh. Okay, cool. Oh, okay. Let's see.
I don't think so. Awesome. Hell yeah. Yeah, give me just 1 second. Making sure I've got everything ready, and that I've got nothing that's gonna fuck me up, and that would be real bad, real bad.
Nice.
I should be good to go whenever you are.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Hey, boys and girls, cats and squirrels, welcome to the Level Up Coffee Podcast. I'm Devin, your host, and to my right, we have our incredible co host, CJ.
Hello, we're back again. It's crazy.
It is.
Also, hello, Tops. And also, just for those who don't know, we are streaming the podcast. So make sure you're checking us out on Mixer, Twitch, wherever you get your stream goodness.
Yeah, so today we have a special guest, a personal friend of mine. He is a self taught bartender, cocktail mixologist, however you want to explain it. But we have Esteban or Estebar Cocktails on the Instagram. So everybody give a warm welcome.
Hello,
Hey, how's it going, guys?
doing good.
Good to have you.
What's up, CJ and Drad?
Not much.
Thanks for having me on here, first of all, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. It's a pleasure to have you. So what? So first, give us in maybe 15 words or less a little about yourself.
All right. Basically, I'm a home bartender. A big cocktail enthusiast. Love making cocktails at home. Love going to bars. Unfortunately, not like right now, but it all just started way back when I had at right when I turned 21. You went to a party. Typically, you get a drink and someone pours you half a cup of vodka and cranberry juice, and you're just like, ugh, this is gross. And just starting off drinking alcohol, and it's like, how can this taste better? And it's like, all my uh, basically, I just got so curious as to like what can be done to make these drinks better, and it's led me on a long journey. To this day, I'm just so into like getting into flavors and what goes well together, and what
Mhm.
types, all the cocktail components, uh, from like types of alcohol, liqueurs, syrups, bitters, tinctures, fruit flavors, and everything. And at this point, definitely into mixology, which is completely different from bartending, but
Right.
uh, or it goes along with it, I should say. But no, I'm all about cocktails. Big fan, and everything to do with cocktails.
I was gonna ask real quick for people who may not know the difference between mixology and bar and just like standard bartending.
Uh,
Could you like, in your definition, how would you describe it to people who would ask what the
Absolutely, I'd
difference
be happy
is?
to answer. Yeah, great question. So basically, when it comes to bartending, bartending is all about being a host. It's about being there for your customers. It's about being efficient, making cocktails quickly. It's about the actual on the job. It's being an entertainer, being a people person,
Hmm.
being quick with knowing all your tools, what kind of jigger you're using, what kind of shaker, um, the ice that you're grabbing, and just creating systems so that you can work more efficiently at your bar. And then when it comes to mixology, it's actually everything that's done before the bar even opens.
Okay.
It's creating cocktails. It's creating the menu with when you create your own syrups, when you use fresh ingredients to incorporate them all together and then create something new.
Mhm.
um, but it's basically everything done before. It's all you're basically setting yourself up for success for your bartending shift, and
It's
just more in depth, flavors, and bettering your palate, and
okay.
um, yeah. So it's all just creating fresh ingredients and stuff, and yeah, that's
It's
the big difference, I would say.
it's almost like bartending is the showmanship in a way, while mixology is more of the
Yeah,
science.
yes, I would think
Pretty
so.
much, yeah.
Okay.
I definitely think that way. That's awesome.
That's
Okay, so
I was gonna. Oh yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Dred.
I was gonna bring up this thing is so CJ, you used to be a barista for Starbucks,
That's right.
Yes.
and um, I kind of want to hear
Dark
like the
times.
I want to hear the differences between a
Oh
barista
yeah.
and a bartender.
CJ.
Like,
Oh. Oh. Okay. Well, a bartender, you get to have way more fun. Uh. I guess we can like.
like is it similar like
Well,
I,
first of all,
chemistry type of thing?
I'm sure, I'm sure the people who help out are always sober. So that's
Yeah.
a pro and con.
That's a plus. We have. I have served a couple customers who were intoxicated before. When you get, and I keep in mind when it comes to when it comes my barista experience. I almost said bartending experience. God, my parents would hate me if it was that. But with my barista experience, a lot of the time I was working a lot of night shifts. So there would be an occasional point where someone would come in. They've had maybe one or two, um, and they're a joy to deal with at 7 o'clock at night when I'm trying to get everything cleaned up,
Mm.
and then one of them will puke on the floor. Uh, but I
God.
know I have I have a lot of respect for bartenders because that is pretty much or bartending because it's like that is almost all of the time, and that not like people just constantly puking on the floor, but that's the kind of environment that gets facilitated
Oh yeah,
in that
absolutely.
field. So
Yep,
you have to have
definitely.
constant patience
Oh
with
yeah.
people.
I've Well, you know what? It always depends where.
Hmm.
I mean, if you're definitely like at a dive bar, you're definitely gonna see it
Oh, of
every other
course.
night. If you're at like a high-end craft bar, you probably will hardly see it. But with my experience, I've never worked at a bar myself.
Hmm.
I'm all fully self-taught.
Oh wow.
Books, online videos, other bartenders. Um, but when it comes to my experience, I've done private events, and I've definitely
Yes.
have seen people who've gone way too far. And actually, Drad's been there, right, Devin?
Yeah, I've seen some pretty hilarious stuff. I think
Right,
it was a Halloween party that was it got
right.
pretty crazy, but I mean, the private bartending is I think it's a lot better than the traditional bartender because you have that well, first of all, at least somebody there, and
Oh yeah,
you get to see like I mean, I guess at a regular bar you can see the progression of how drunk people can get. So I
Right.
mean, so
yeah.
I mean the party it's pretty crazy.
It's great. Yeah. Well, when it comes to bartending, when I first began, it was a little nerve wracking. You kind of are on the stage. Everyone's staring at you. Everyone's like, "Oh, look, it's the bartender. He's here." And,
Hmm.
and I'm just standing there like, "What do you want?" And I'm hoping and I'm hoping and praying that they don't come up and ask me these crazy questions like, "Oh, so kind of whiskey do you recommend when it comes to like this?" I don't know. I think of like the craziest, worst outcomes, and Oh,
Right.
you get nervous, and sometimes, well, definitely in the beginning, I would say you're afraid of just people like coming over and intimidating you or something. But it's like no, obviously everyone's there to have a good time,
Hmm.
and everything just feels more comfortable after a while. And definitely the alcohol helps because everyone loosens up so
Of
much.
course. Of course.
Are there people who come up to you and they're like, so like, or what are you, the real deal, or like, what are you gonna make good drinks, or what, or let's see if your drinks are any good. And next thing you know, they're like 3 drinks in, and they're just like, your drinks are the best, and oh my god, it's great though, so much fun. It's a really fun working environment, definitely. It's a party.
Always, all the time. I was gonna say you did mention you were self-taught. Um,
Oh yeah.
what? And you mentioned that you watched a lot of videos. What are some of your favorite go-to channels when it comes to learning about making cocktails, or just learning more about your field? What are some of your favorite channels to go to?
So when I first began, I definitely started watching Bartender Pro.
Mhm.
He he would just go into like just the basics of bartending, and that was when I first began. And it was just basic cocktails, at a dive bar when they make like vodka cranberry or
Of course.
pina colada margaritas,
Hmm.
uh simple things, and it was just like the basics, like what do people actually drink at dive bars. I wanted to know what that was, and it was great knowing on that. And then he goes into everything to do with being efficient and like knowing where to put your bottles, and like speed rails and the pour spouts in the bottles, and how to be able to be quicker in pouring your spirit into a glass
Hmm.
by just having the pour spout on there. It's a little spout that it when you put upside down, it'll the liquid will comes out in a specific rate so that you're able to count, however many seconds, um, and know how many ounces you're pouring, instead of using a jigger, which is a little measuring. I'm sure you've seen it. Looks kind of like a. It's a little jigger. It's just measuring things.
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean.
Uh,
Right. It
but
took me a
yeah,
second. I was visualizing as
Yeah.
you were explaining it. Yeah, I know what you're referring to now.
yeah, and just all the tools, what you can use, all the basic stuff. Um, Once I got into all that, and I loved making just recipes that I already made. I wasn't At the time, I wasn't into like making my own stuff. I was afraid to make anything because I thought, no, like recipes are recipes. You got to follow the recipes. And then I found out, the actual truth is all cocktails, that there's no specific official recipe for any of them. Every website, every book always claims like, oh, this is the recipe, this is the
Right.
one. Like, but there's no like cocktail bible that it's like, this is it, this is how you make a margarita. Like,
Right.
it's just so
There
Yeah.
many recipes out there.
it's like the
I'm
same
sorry,
thing with No, you're good. I
sorry.
was going to say it's almost like the same thing with coffee or
Yes.
like
Yeah.
anything to cook, honestly. Like sure, there are like some idealistic recipes, and
Yeah.
for the audio listeners, I am putting heavy quotation marks in that. But um
Yeah.
but there is always like room to tinker and
Yes.
to make it your own. Like I'm one to say, like, of course, there are some drinks that you should follow the
Mhm.
recipes for, because people who don't notice in my streams, I purposely hide it. I'm the guy who has the over 1,000 page book of different types of shots that you can make. um should you follow any of these? No, but I use a lot of these as a way to, like, I think it was, yeah, I think it was the Green Bomber, where it was like, yeah, this one, where it's like, it says like 1 part melon liqueur, 1 part lime juice, 1 part sweet vermouth, 1 part gin, 1 part beer, shake with ice and strain to a shot glass. I'm like, melon liqueur just sounds awful. I tried it with melon absolute, and it was like, yeah, it hits a lot harder, but it doesn't taste horrible at the end of the day. Like,
Just
and it's something that I
sweet.
enjoyed, and that's something that
Okay.
you can, like, that applies to any drink. Like I was saying earlier, it's all about tinkering and finessing and really making it your own.
Speaking of
Oh yeah.
recipes,
Oh, and that
though,
goes into. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Dred.
well, I was gonna say, speaking of recipes, like, speaking of coffee, I mean, me and you, we've come up with handful of coffee cocktails that
Yeah.
we've tweaked and messed around with, and we've done some crazy things with them, and they all come out perfect. But there's always that room to like finesse it and make it even better and stuff like that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we've definitely messed around with it a lot, and it actually goes back. I wanted to mention earlier when my introduction, um, it goes into my uh, oh god, I'm sorry, my philosophy that I have on my Instagram. There, it's I came up with this myself. True flavorsome pleasure lies in the palate of the imbiber, which is something I came
Mm,
up with based off of. It's a riff off the quote, "Beauty lies in the eye of the beholder," but meaning, when it comes to a good cocktail, all it comes down to in the end is if you love what comes, what's at the end in your glass, whatever ends up in your glass, and you love it. That's all that matters. And
yeah.
it might not be like the best to like a perfectionist craft cocktail person, in the end,
Hmm.
but it's like if you enjoy it, you enjoy it, and that's what me and Devin have definitely done. Um, when we mix the things together, we'll edit it. And it's okay if it tastes bad. We can try to edit it, and if not, toss it out, try it again, and it's I'm not. I mentioned the whole mixology thing and a bartender, and some people have a really bad. There's a bad connotation to the word mixologist or mixology in general. From
Mm.
what I've seen and read online, people just tend to see it as like, oh, you're like a bartender who's cocky or a bartender who's snobby about what he drinks, and like, yeah, to a certain degree, my taste has evolved, and I'm not going out and ordering, Irish car bombs or Jaeger bombs and stuff, or
Yeah.
those like,
Hmm.
you know, super crazy sweet drinks anymore. But I don't judge either. I'm fully just. It's all about what you like, and if there's something that I don't like but you would enjoy, I'd be happy to make it for you. But yeah, we've been
Absolutely.
had a great time with making coffee drinks, right, Devin? I'm sure you
Yeah,
guys
yeah.
feel the same about coffee, right?
Oh, I love it. I
Yeah.
used to be, I've mentioned this on the podcast before. Before I started working at Starbucks, I was the person that was like anti coffee.
Yeah.
I don't think I really appreciated it until I started going to college, and I was like,
Yes.
oh God, now I see why people need this.
Yes,
And
exactly.
now it's like, now I'm the biggest coffee snob at my house.
Yeah. No, definitely the same thing with me, but I started like with probably in probably high school, even earlier than college, but like
Mm.
I started drinking it heavily with like, loaded with creamer, loaded with sugar and all that stuff
Mm,
because, hated the taste of black coffee, but now that's all I drink is just straight black coffee. If it has anything in
right.
it, if it has anything in it, it's because I'm trying to fix the way that it tastes. Because if it's a bad coffee, it's not going to taste good black. You got to add some sugar to it. You got
Right.
to add some cream to it just to kind of even it out. And it goes to the same thing with cocktails. Like I remember me and Esteban, we were at a tiki bar, and I got a drink that had a ghost pepper syrup in
That's
it,
correct.
and it was so spicy I couldn't drink it. But having a friend that's a bartender is super helpful because he was able to ask the bartender there, "Hey, can you add this to it?" To
Mhm.
so I could actually drink it. I actually don't think
Right.
I don't think I actually ended up finishing it either.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame you at that point. I wouldn't blame you.
I mean, it was a good drink, but the spiciness after you like take the sip, it's just too
Right.
much.
Mm.
Yeah, it was way too much. It was hilarious.
Speaking of the tiki culture, I know that Esteban, you're heavily into the tiki culture. You like the tiki bar, and you got the tiki
Tropical
shirt
shirt
on.
on. That's right.
We've been to
Oh
a
yeah,
couple tiki events.
absolutely. I'm just a huge fan of the tiki culture. I could say that it was definitely part of my bartending journey. and my interest in cocktails because of one bar in particular at the Disneyland Hotel. I'm sure some of you have heard of, or many of you have heard of Trader Sam's.
Hmm.
It's it's a definitely. Well, I'm a big Disney fan, first of all, and I work there too.
Oh,
But
cool.
yeah, and but the thing is, it's this bar is like a mixture. If you've ever been, it's a mixture of like the Tiki Room, which is an attraction at Disneyland, the Jungle Cruise, Indiana Jones. So it's like adventure
Yeah.
meets like tropical and like island, and the whole just feel the combination of it, of Tiki in general, is just the sense of like going somewhere and being fully immersed with the way the bar's decorated, with all this Polynesian decor, and being able to just enjoy, kick back, and it's almost like you're on vacation. You go and skip to a paradise.
Hmm.
You could just very similar to my love for Disneyland, by the way, and uh, Disneyland. It lets you escape from the real world. You can't see the outside world. You're
Hmm.
completely immersed, and you're just like you're in your little paradise. The same with these tiki bars. I love how they're enclosed and almost dark. And I mean, I've always loved dark environments too. But and then the combination of that with a very well made cocktail with tropical juices and unique ingredients, and mixtures, and classic riffs to like old cocktails that were made way back when the tiki culture began. And um,
Hmm.
it's amazing, and I just love everything about it. And yeah, like Devin said, we've been to tiki events, and seen so many different creative sides of people who've done tiki mugs and tiki art.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And
Being an
oh
artist,
yeah,
I love the art that the the tiki environment has, like all the art that comes out of it. Like the tiki mugs in general are just absolutely amazing and stuff like that.
oh, yeah.
Um, and a few of the tiki drinks actually have, you think tiki, you think tropical drinks and all that stuff, but some of them actually incorporate coffee into them, which is kind of cool to see too. We went to a bar recently before everything shut down that it had coffee in it, and what really blew me away is, I mean, I didn't eat it, but they had a they for the garnish they put a pineapple on it, but it had coffee grounds all over the coated.
Right. I remember you telling me about this.
It was a very interesting drink. It actually tasted really good. It was like very fruit forward, and then all of a sudden you get the coffee flavor after, and it's really cool.
That's
Mm.
right. It was called the Buzzin' Jungle Bird.
Hmm.
So um, it used the coffee infused Campari. Campari is like a bittering type of liqueur. It's actually not one of my favorite um, liquors to use, because the bittering component. But when it was infused in coffee, it really added a really nice taste to it. And yeah, I really liked. And also, oh, by the way, to finish the what was in it, it was Jamaican rum, coffee infused Campari, blackstrap rum, Angostura bitters, pineapple lime, hemp orgeat syrup, and cane
Okay.
sugar. It seems like, but yeah, I was really intrigued by the pineapple, and it had it was like dusted with like coffee grind, right?
Yeah, it was an
Oh, yeah.
interesting drink.
I posted a picture of it, and so did you, right, Devin?
Yeah, yeah, we both took
I
very
picked up.
artistic photos of it and posted them.
Yeah, I love seeing any cocktail that has coffee incorporated in it. Um, One of my favorites, I'd say, would be one I had in Smuggler's Cove, a tiki bar out in San Francisco. Um, that one had, and it came in a really cool mug. You know what? It's actually on the cover of my book. I just have the book right here. Smuggler's Cove.
Oh,
Definitely
there it
recommend this.
is.
Yeah.
And it came in this really cool tiki mug that I bought. But yeah, the ingredients. One of the ingredients was a coffee infused syrup, and oh my god, it was delicious, and I wanted to recreate it at home. I used a different type of coffee liqueur, actually, not a syrup.
Yeah.
Um, but it's fun to play with the different coffee liqueurs, and that I've owned, and create and add it to like those tiki cocktails. And
Hmm.
I've been seeing it a lot more in tiki cocktails, actually. But I've yet to create a coffee infused syrup, which would be like different ways. I still haven't tried it yet because I'm in the
Right.
middle of a move.
Yeah.
But I do have plenty plans, and then definitely to work with alongside Level Up. Um,
Hmm.
I keep sidetracking, by the way.
No,
But
you're
It's all.
good.
It's all good.
No,
It's all good.
trust me. When Brad and I do the podcast, and it's just like us two or Coots here,
yeah,
sidetrack, divergence. Those are all
Everywhere.
the name of the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
my
Just.
my train of thought just keeps going and going, and I'm
You're
like,
good.
"Whoops."
It's all
You're
good.
good.
But yeah, anyways, yeah, I've been thinking about either doing some kind of like infusion with, just putting some coffee beans in water and maybe heating it up and adding sugar to it,
Hmm.
and then straining it, or even just using straight up coffee, boiling it, adding water to it. And I've seen so many different types. People just grind the coffee, they don't, or just kind of like type of French press where they just pour it straight into the pot,
Right.
add
There
sugar, heat it
there are
up.
people who do like the rapid infusions with like the aerosol cans, and they just like squeeze
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
they get like the aerosol, I think it's like aerosol whipped
right.
cream canisters,
Hmm.
and they
That's
just
right.
rapid infuse.
There's so many ways that I have to yet discover myself. But like I
Right.
said, I've been taking a break from making syrups because I need to empty out my mini fridge because we're moving out to a new place.
Oh, that's
when we move
awesome.
into our new place, we'll definitely have. I'll be making a lot more syrups, and I'll definitely incorporate those in my cocktails. But it's always
Yeah.
fun and great to see coffee drinks. When it comes to other bars that have made drinks, I've seen them use. I don't know if you guys have heard of cold brew concentrate.
Yes.
Yes. I am very
Okay.
familiar with cold brew concentrates.
Oh, awesome. Are you guys a fan of that?
uh,
Okay.
I'll let you
Well,
go
I
on
think
this.
I would have a different opinion than Gerard.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay.
No, I want to hear your opinion so I can.
Okay. Well, my opinion is so cold brew concentrate. Sorry, not extract. I mean, I not a fan of it because it can be very misleading on the taste. You can actually screw up concentrate really easily. Um, I personally just like straight pour over or French press, or if I do a regular cold brew, I just do it at the max. I don't try to make a concentrate out of it or anything like that. So
Right.
I'm not a
Okay.
fan of it. So
I was surprised. I thought you were gonna say you liked it, and I was gonna be like, oh no, here's why. Here's why I don't. I'm glad to know we're on the same page.
yeah,
I think cold brew concentrate. I think it does have its place. I think there are some. I think the problem with cold brew is that a lot of people who manufacture cold brew concentrates, like for store, just for like grocery,
yeah.
a lot of them just associate cold brew as a darker flavor, as just
Mm,
like a dark roast. And that's not necessarily what a cold brew is. Because a cold brew, yes, it's a lot bolder in flavor, but what it the difference between a bold flavor and a dark roast is those are two completely different
yeah,
profiles when it comes to coffee. So, because the bold flavor you're getting from a cold brew, you're getting it from the grounds, or you're getting it from the grounds having essentially just steeped for 12 to 24 hours. And that's where that bold, it's almost like, honestly, like what we were talking, it's almost like an infusion in a way. It to, in a, because you're really infusing the natural flavor of the coffee to the fullest extent into your drink, into the water. And that's what makes cold brew so appealing to a lot of people.
yeah,
But when you get the pre-made concentrate, like sure there are some that are good. Like ironically, the Starbucks like cold brew pouches where it's like the actual ground coffee and you just pour water over and you just let it sit for 24 hours. That's good because that's pretty much the
oh
exact
yeah.
same stuff
Well,
that we would make.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
when it comes to like the concentrate syrup, or like I know Walmart makes like manufactures their own like cold brew concentrate syrup, like that stuff. Mm-mm,
Gross.
mm-mm. That's
Gross.
just dark roast. That's just liquid dark roast coffee, and I'm just like, no, 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 no. This is not cold brew. And I
Yeah,
do agree. It is very difficult to. It's very easy to mess that up.
yeah.
Oh no, my inner snob is coming out.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
cool. Go ahead. Sorry.
I could totally see. I mean, the what because I discussed with that bartender, I was like, how come you guys are using this concentrate? And from the bar perspective, it's an efficiency thing. You
I
know,
could see that.
Yeah,
bars have a hard time with having a fresh cup of coffee ready, or making that cold
of
brew,
course.
and having a fridge that's nearby, or having enough to put in those little tiny fridges they got in the front.
Yeah.
So they rather just have something a lot handy and quickly incorporate in a cocktail that had a coffee flavor,
Right. It's
which in
like you
the end,
mentioned at the top, where it's like a lot of bartending. It's just making sure you have everything ready to go and that you
Mm-hmm.
have like everything accessible so you can just get customers what they need and you can get them
Right.
going.
right. And actually, Devin and I, we experienced something at a bar. I won't name them, but you already know.
Oh yeah, I know. I know the bar you're talking about.
So we were having the classic espresso martini
Okay.
at this bar out in Huntington Beach, and
Yes.
oh my god, it was delicious. It was perfectly made. It's such a simple drink.
Mm-hmm.
Of
Um,
course.
but the thing is, that night they were really busy, and I guess their espresso machine is a little slow and takes a while to make. And the bartender mentality that I dislike, that's unfortunately common, is you know the people who've been in the business and they all that are in the business just for the money are just like tips. I gotta get tips and I gotta get
Yeah.
paid well. I gotta make a lot of money and get in the seat at the bar. Let me order a drink. Give me your money. Get out of the way because I'm trying to get more money. And um, and the thing is, we went. We had like maybe two, and after the night got busier, we ordered more, and the bartender was like, "Oh, it's our machine is not working right now, or we turned it off already." And we were kind of like, "Oh, okay, that's weird."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Stupid.
then maybe like some time passed, and we just were just in disbelief, and we asked another bartender at that same bar location. It's a little roundabout bar, and they were working with the same espresso machine. So, and one of my fiance actually was like, "I'm gonna ask again," but he asked a different bartender, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I'll get that for you," and she made it. The
No
espresso
problem.
machine was fine, it wasn't off. But the thing is, because it takes time, they don't want to waste that time and lose money, and they would rather
Of
just
course.
make it quicker. I'll make you just something quicker to get you going and make more money,
Yeah.
and
Get.
that was really disappointing to see. Um, right, right, Devin.
Yeah. It's like they wanted to get the drink done and move on to the next person. And
Yeah,
like you said, you don't like that, and I didn't like that either. Because like,
no,
if it's a drink that's on the menu, you should be able to make it every single time, and not
absolutely. Yeah, and it also goes with being a great host and being there for your guests, and that's why I like more the the craft side of cocktail making, and or just non-dive bar cocktails where they're there and they're like you have a one-on-one conversation, even if they're busy, they'll do whatever it takes, even if it's a 7, 8, 9 uh ingredient cocktail. They're going to be there and ask you questions and make sure you enjoy it, and
yeah.
and they're not going to question or be like, sorry, we can't make that because my time is more valuable.
Right. It's definitely like it's sort of like how Dredd mentioned earlier. He wanted to really get an idea of what it is, the difference between like a bartender or a cocktail artist and a barista. And the best thing like I can give as like an example of an experience that I have being behind the counter are probably the people who constantly ask for drinks that are not on the menu. It's like we have a menu, we have all of these drinks that we can make. Sure, there's like the secret menu,
Yeah.
but those are things that it's like we've had. I can't tell you how many times I have gotten customers who would be so disgruntled because they were always just like, you have the ingredients to make this. I'm like, yeah, but I can't just immediately know what you're talking about
Mm-hmm.
by you saying, oh, can I get like what was the one, can I get a Captain Crunch frappuccino? I'm like, no, I can't make you that because I don't know what that is. And so a lot of people always read that as just like, oh, you're just trying to brush me off. When
Or be lazy.
Starbucks, exactly. But like for me, it's like, no, like the only way, like, so basically for Starbucks policy, I don't know if this is like breaking the magician's code or like, probably not. But what Starbucks does when it comes to like that situations, it's policy for the baristas to just be like, okay, listen, if it's not on the menu, you gotta give us the recipe for it, and
Mhm.
we have to charge you like per those ingredients. So like when people get like a Captain Crunch Frappuccino, that's like a vanilla bean Frappuccino with like extra syrup, extra powder, extra this, extra that, and that adds up. And that's like it's like yeah, we gotta like it doesn't sound like a whole lot at
It's like an
first when
$11
you're
drink.
charging. Yeah, but it starts as like a $5 drink, and then there have been situations where it becomes nearly a $10 drink, and
Jeez.
it's like that's like, and when people get upset, it's like, well, you gotta work with me.
Yeah,
It's like you
it's
have
your
to
own fault.
understand. Yeah, it's like I think it's the same thing for like a bartending situation where or a cocktail situation where it's yes, there's like there's the list. You know the drink by you may know the drink, but it's all about that there's communication. Whether that communication is like limited to just like that one interaction where you're like, "Hey, can I get fucking a white Russian?" And it's like,
Mhm.
"Yeah, sure. I got you." And then it's like that. Or it's like, "Hey, uh can I get like a white Russian but with vermouth?" And it's like it's that communication is integral, and when it's either side
Mhm.
that doesn't want to continue that communication or like isn't wanting to cooperate, that's where it becomes an issue. And there are, especially when it comes to like a person's like personal stance, like in your experience where it was like the one bartender was just like, no, our machine's down, I'm sorry, I gotta get to the next guy.
Yeah.
Where for and like I guess in my situation where it was like the customers that like is just upset and they're like, no, I don't understand why you have all the you have this and this and this, why can't you make it for me? And I'm just like, I want to be able to make it for you, but I want you to also work with me. I
Yeah.
want to be able to get you a sale. I want you to be able to enjoy your drink, but I also want to make sure
Mhm.
that I'm doing my job as your your barista, and I want to make sure you're doing your job as a good consumer.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a two-way street.
Mhm.
And when it comes to drinks, I find a lot of the time it's a two-way
Yes.
street.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. I can totally relate to that. I mean, the way I see that, it definitely is a two-way street when it comes to someone who's just like, I mean, not that I don't like this question, but when people come up to me and they're like, I'm like, oh, what would you like to get? And I have a menu or I have a set list of cocktails, and they're like, can you make something for me and just anything you want, like something
Yeah, just
good?
like dealer's choice.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh, I'll do the
Oh,
bartender's choice, and it's like, as a bartender, it's like I want to make something that you love. I want to make
Yeah.
something that you enjoy,
yeah,
or at least
Hmm.
get it as close as possible to the something of your liking.
of
You know,
course.
so and I can't stand it when they say that and they're like, "I'll be over here, make me what you want," and I'm like, no,
Just like
like,
yeah, because at that
and-
point, that's almost setting you up for
Failure,
an
basically.
issue,
Yeah.
for a
exactly.
problem. Because like
Oh yeah,
if you make something that you personally like,
And
but
they don't
they
like it.
don't like, yeah, and if
Mhm.
they don't like it, then it's like then you become the bad guy.
yes. And then the
But
thing is,
yeah,
oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead. You were probably gonna exactly say what I was gonna say.
Oh, probably. Yeah, what I love is when they come up and they say, "Hey, can you make something new for me?" And then I'll go, "Okay, let me get let me get the gist of what you like, and I'll ask the right questions. What's
Yeah.
Yeah,
is there any alcohols? Give me something to work with. Is there
Mhm.
any
exactly.
alcohol you like? Rum, tequila, vodka, gin. Do you like this or that? Do you like trying new things? Do you want something fruity? You want something creamy, you want something like subtle, not too sweet, you want something carbonated, and if they give me like three, four, five things to work with, like, okay, I don't like carbonation, I hate Bacardi, and I love Tito's, and I love peach. Be like, perfect. I'll make something for you.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, if they come up and they're just like, oh, do your thing. I'm like, I don't know what you're exactly
Yeah,
what you
Yeah.
no.
said. Failure.
I know exactly that feeling because it's like, and that was exactly what I was gonna say. When you have a customer who's like, "Yeah, I want to try something new," and it's like you have that conversation of just like, "All right, so what? Give me a vibe of like what sort of stuff do you like? Do
Yeah.
you like fruity stuff? Do you like sweet stuff? Do you like more like subtle flavor?" Those are those moments that I had at my time at Starbucks where I got to like interact with customers and like actually have like a quick communication. Sure, I gotta like keep down to like 2 minutes
Yeah. Yeah.
because like I gotta keep people coming because it
Mhm.
is like a fast food restaurant at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Oh
But
yeah.
those moments where I'm like, all right, cool. I have like this. If you say you like fruity stuff, but you don't want it to be too sweet. Well, I can do this. I could do like a strawberry acai with like extra water, so it's not super sweet. It dilutes it just a little bit, but you're still getting that good amount of caffeine that you would
Mhm.
have gotten from the main drink. And they're like, yeah, sure, we'll go for it. I'm like, awesome. And those moments, those are super satisfying for me because like that valued communication, and
Yeah.
also I get to make something that they one have probably never tried before, and two,
They want
uh, yeah, they actually want it.
it.
Because I have had situations where I get like, oh, barista's choice. I'm like, I don't know what you want. I don't know if you're a
Exactly.
sweet person. I don't know if you're a salty person. I don't know if you want black coffee. I don't know if you want black iced tea. How am I supposed to know?
Yeah. Exactly.
Another
It's like,
another thing, and I'm sure it's the same with you. It's you know, customers. They also have to be good customers. You know, they
yeah,
gotta
Mhm.
know when the right time is to do something like that. You know, if
mhm,
they go up to a bar or a barista and they're slammed, they're busy, they have like full bar, they're even, you know, someone called out and they're making cocktails everywhere,
Yeah.
and you go up and you're like, what do you have? And what, you know, what can you make? It's like, no, be respectful to the barista,
Yeah.
be respectful to them, order something from the menu, come another time when it's not busy, and then you can take all their time. But
oh yeah, oh, oh yeah,
All right. So a good question here is, so me and Esteban, we've made, like I said, we've made a bunch of coffee cocktails. Off the top of your head, which one was probably the best out of what we've made, and you want to go break down maybe the recipe for our viewers, and maybe that way they can go out and probably make it for themselves and stuff like that.
oh yeah, oh, that's a tough one. Probably be, I'd definitely probably be in between, and that one might be too simple. The Irish coffee I know for a fact you love.
Yes, that was a
Uh,
great one.
that's super simple, super just to the point. Um, I'll name the ingredients on that one. That one's just um, the Tullamore Dew coffee was a really good Irish whiskey. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
the Tullamore Dew whiskey.
Yeah.
A
mhm,
great, perfect whiskey to use. We got that recipe off of
Buena
the
Vista
Buena Vista Cafe in
Yeah.
San Francisco. Um,
yeah,
and then we use, well, we didn't use sugar cubes, but typically you use two sugar cubes, or in our case, we use sugar packets. And then the coffee and the heavy whipped cream. So, in case you're out there and you want to write this down, it's 1.5 ounces of Irish whiskey. It could be Tullamore Dew, it could be Jameson. Honestly, any whiskey, if anything, if you don't have the right things. 2 packets of sugar.
Sure.
If
Yep.
you don't have the packets, teaspoons are fine. The packets are equal to the same amount of one sugar cube. One packet is for one sugar
Hmm.
cube. So two of those, 4 ounces of freshly brewed, preferably level up coffee,
Yes.
casual gamer edition.
you got to
And
get the
then
plug in there somewhere.
Yep.
that's right. And then 1.5 ounces of lightly whipped heavy cream.
Hmm.
Um, and when it comes to that, we used heavy cream, and then we used a frother. If you don't have a frother, you can use if you have one of those old school milkshake machines, you can froth it up with that. Even a spoon, quickly, like just, or you know what, actually, even shaken. If you have a shaker, put it in a shaker, shake it up a bit, or even just rigorously stir it, and then just pour it right on top. So delicious, so simple.
Yep.
Um, but a close. I mean, definitely one that we made specifically because that was just a recreation of a cocktail, which I love
Right.
doing. But we love making our own cocktails. I
Yeah.
just realized you asked for one that we've created,
I
and
mean, either or is
I
too, but go ahead.
yes, I do not remember the exact ingredients because I think we've made it several times different ingredients, but
Yeah.
I guess tell you the gist of it. Um, what I did was I used the cedar wood plank,
Oh
um,
yes.
and we got they sell it at like Ace Hardware stores at Walmart. And these little planks, you use them for grilling and cooking like meat, fish on a grill, and
Yeah.
it has the cedar wood taste and it incorporates into the meat. But it's a new fad going into the cocktail world now. From what I've seen, only at 2 bars so far. Um, but what I did is you torch it
Hmm.
with you torch it and on the actual plank and you let it burn a little bit, creating a little fire. You place your glass right on top to put out the fire, extinguish it, and all the smokes and the smoke gets into the glass itself, and all that smoky cedar taste gets into it. So we did that for one of the cocktails we created, and we put some coffee in there. We put some heavy whipping cream. Uh, Devin found this really good Stroop waffle syrup, I believe.
It's a
Um,
liqueur. Yeah.
oh, it was a liqueur. That's right.
Yeah.
Um, oh, that stuff is so good. So if you're not familiar with the Stroop waffle, how would you describe that flavor,
It's
Devin?
a well. It's a Norwegian dessert cookie type thing that's typically with honey. Sometimes it has caramel in it, but
Right, it's caramel like
it's almost
honey.
like it's a sweet, almost like graham cracker, almost.
Yeah. Yeah, some of you have seen, if you're Starbucks fans out there, you've probably seen it right when you check out. I think they sell it, the little Norwegian. It's got the little windmill, I think, on there.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But oh, it was that flavor was went so well with the coffee, the cream, and I put a little bit of Kahlua in there, I believe.
Yes.
Uh,
Kahlua.
Shaken and poured into that glass after it sat there after a while. You put one big block of ice cube in there, and it just became a full on experience with every sip because you're tasting that caramelly, honey, vanilla, and then it's that strong coffee taste, and at
Yeah.
the same time you're smelling that like cedar wood. It's almost like a like that combination became almost like a marshmallowy chocolate taste, which was weird.
Like a s'mores.
Totally came off of exactly like a s'mores taste, and then with that smokiness, it just felt like you were at a campfire. But that was definitely one of the really good cocktails we made, right?
Yeah, that was probably one of the best cocktails that we've come up with. Another one was the first one that we've ever came up with, kind of by mistake. The
Oh, right.
We used vanilla Coke with a coffee liqueur. And it didn't have actual like ground coffee or brewed coffee in it, but we used a coffee liqueur with I think it was a vanilla Coke, and
Right. And but did we use the butterscotch? I believe butterscotch schnapps.
yeah, and that came out so good. That's another.
Yeah. Oh my god, I think it was the spice, Captain Morgan spice rum with butterscotch schnapps. Um, and I think it might have been actually. I might be getting it mixed up, but we also used the triple espresso
Oh
vodka.
yes, yes by
That's right.
three three
That was the one.
olives.
Yes, 3 olives, triple espresso. Not the Captain Morgan. The butterscotch schnapps,
Hmm.
and yeah, oh my god, it was amazing. Yes, and oh, yeah, the vanilla Coke.
Yeah. So
Gotcha.
so on another note, I know we went to the coffee cocktails. So now, when it comes to coffee, how do you enjoy your coffee as just a regular coffee?
So for me, I'm definitely always been an iced coffee kind of guy.
Hmm.
It's super rare for me to have it hot.
Yeah.
Um,
A man
I
after my heart.
Yeah, ice has always been the way to go. Beyond that, I can't specifically say I have a favorite like taste or like notes in coffee because I'm still a novice, I would say.
Mhm.
I when I tasted, I was taste testing some of the Level Up the other day, and you were telling me how to like, I was telling you what notes I tasted, the nuttiness and all that, and
Yeah.
those are definitely amazing. I mean, Level Up is definitely like great. One of my first, I would say, the foundation of my first time actually taste testing a coffee, and actually, looking for those flavors.
Yeah.
I have yet to do that with others. Um, I definitely agree with you with how when I've had coffee at like Starbucks or at those big places, you can definitely taste that it's like burnt and not you can't really taste any much of it because it's just overcooked. I believe you mentioned.
Well, yeah.
Um,
Some places or let the coffee just sit on the hot burner for too long, and it becomes burnt. And obviously the people working there, and it's notorious for like Dunkin' Donuts to do this. They leave it on the burner, the hot plate, for just far too long, and it becomes
oh yeah,
just not
They
drinkable.
shouldn't be. They shouldn't
No,
be.
no, no. There shouldn't be because there's actually a timer. They have a timer there, but they don't pay
Yeah,
attention to it.
yeah.
I'm sure you guys have
I
a lot
want
to say.
names. I want names.
I don't have names, but
Get me names.
I will find
Give me
those.
names, locations. I need this.
All right, we'll get that.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. When it comes to that kind, I'm like a typical coffee person where it's like, I mean, because I guess probably because of that, because Starbucks is so easily accessible that coffee to me is just coffee,
yeah,
and I've
to
been
most
able to
people.
fully experience, uh, been able to like look for those tastes and to differentiate different coffees and I'm far from finding a favorite yet.
Hmm.
Um,
I
but
can
yeah,
tell
as of
you
now,
for
it
s-
is Level
I
Up.
can tell you for certain, having drunk so much Starbucks coffee, especially when like the new roast would come in, most of it will taste exactly the same.
Okay.
Um,
Gee.
the ones I would say, if you're, this is just general like tip for anyone who's gonna start drinking coffee. The ones if you're gonna go to Starbucks, because like you said, it is readily available. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like it's
Yeah,
about as common as McDonald's at this point.
exactly.
Um, you should go for a Pike's Place because that's just your standard
Yeah.
medium roast that they have. You should go for a Veranda Blend, which is their light roast, their blonde roast. So it's going to be lighter in taste, a bit higher in caffeine. And then a dark roast, usually, like if you're going to go for a dark roast, the one I always go to, they rotate out the dark roast a lot. If they have it, the one I always recommend to people is Verona. Is like their most well-known dark roast blend. It's the one you'll see the most often. If even though they do rotate it out very frequently, but like a lot of the ones that taste the most different you're gonna find like are I would say Italian or no French roast. French roast is gonna have a little bit more of like an ashy taste
Hmm.
because it is such a dark roast. Uh, Holiday roast. People say that the Christmas and the Thanksgiving blends taste different. No, they don't.
Nope.
Just drink the holiday blend. They taste exactly the same, and you all need to stop lying to yourselves. Um, I would also say if you can get it, I know it's rare even nowadays. Uh, the Starbucks, what they do is now every season, there's three brand new roasts that they do, as like a seasonal, like worldwide roast. Some of them they bring back. Uh, the one that I enjoy the most. I think I actually do. I still have it. I might still have it back here. Hang on. Do I?
No.
Very, very curious, sir. I have a bunch of Starbucks memorabilia. Sue me, Drab. No, I
Just
don't
might.
have it. Don't you? I don't have enough money to survive that, Drad. I
I don't-
haven't even gotten my stimulus yet at the time of this recording.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Alright.
I would say Guatemala Huehue Tanago
Okay.
is a really good blend. But those are my recommendations. But please continue what you were saying before I cut you off so inappropriately.
I think that's.
Oh,
Go
right
ahead.
here. Oh no. Go ahead, Devin.
So I mean, I was gonna just probably close it out here. We've gotten pretty much everything. did we want to open up to the chat to see if they had any questions for Esteban in regards of bartending, deciding on like if they have questions about what they have currently in their home right now, what they can use to maybe mix some new drinks or whatever. If there's anybody in
Yeah,
the chat wants,
if there's anyone in the chat, and if you're listening on the podcast, this is a good incentive to get in on the live streams so you
yes,
can participate in the podcast. Twitch.tv/levelupcoffee, Mixer.com/levelupcoffee,
yep,
YouTube.com. Just search Level Up Coffee.
yeah.
We're streaming there. Uh,
Yeah, so
Yeah.
if there's anything that you want for Esteban, if there's is there any where can everybody find you on the internet to follow your cocktails and stuff like that?
Definitely. My top thing right now is just my Instagram,
Mhm.
which I got a friend to convince me to do back on the ending of last year. My Instagram is estebar_cocktails.
Yeah, it's right below
I
his camera, as you can see on the stream.
Oh,
So it's right
Right.
there. It's below you. So we got you covered. Definitely check him out.
absolutely. I post all about the cocktails I make, the cocktails I've had at
Yep.
bars, and yeah, it's been for a while. Cocktails that I've recreated from recipes already made, and drinks. But now I've been posting more about actual cocktails that I've made because I just finished a mixology course not too long ago, um, and now I can it was all about creating cocktails from scratch, um, putting flavors together, and being able to experiment,
Mhm.
and at the same time, while experimenting and taste testing, being able to balance the cocktail to balance out sourness, sweetness, bitterness, to get that ideal drink. And so a few of my cocktails lately have been my actual creations.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys ever have questions, even if we're not getting any now, feel free to message me or comment on any of my posts. I'll be happy to answer when I get a chance. I love talking about it. I love nerding out about it. So, I would really appreciate that. And
Yeah.
real quick, just real quick, because I know earlier you asked me this question. I didn't get to finish, and you asked me about YouTubers.
Oh
Before I
yeah, yeah.
forget, uh, I did mention Bartender Bro. That was right when I began. After that, definitely one of my big ones has been How to Drink.
Mhm.
yep. I
Bartender
knew that name
Greg.
was going to come up. I had a hunch.
Oh yes, Bartender Greg. He's like awesome. He's got a great team. They have great videos. Um, I just fell in love with his YouTube videos because when he first started out, his intros would mention it was his little philosophy. It was very similar to mine, and I think the way he words it's just like I'm not too crazy about like being correct and like crazy precise measurements or like what glass will you use, like basically like not snobby. At the end of the day, if what you like is in the glass, I mean if you like what's in the glass that you put in and you enjoy it, you did it right,
Yeah.
There you go.
so
We
love
got.
that. And
Oh,
the
sorry.
other YouTubers have been definitely a bar above, and they also have a website, and that's where I did the mixology course.
Oh,
But I
nice.
just want to do a quick shout out to them because they're just amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
I definitely check them out. But yeah,
So,
carry on, Devin.
so we got one question um, from Tops to Gear, one of the Level Up Stream Team members. As a non-alcoholic drinker, what is your favorite mocktail? So, Tops
Mocktail.
is Tops is a non-alcoholic drinker, but he wants to know what your favorite mocktail would be.
Mocktail. Ooh, that's tough. Um, I I will always settle with. I always love lemonade. So simple to make, so easy. It's just like water, lemon juice, sugar,
Mhm.
um, and or you can just buy any lemonade. And I love introducing syrup to it.
Okay.
Instead of adding any sugar, you use a syrup. So I've made recently like a rosemary syrup,
Mhm.
um, lemongrass syrup, and those are easy to make. You should easily make, look them up. Uh, Tea flavored syrups are the easiest, I would say, because you literally make a large portion of a tea
Hmm.
in a pot. You probably like quadruple the amount of tea bags, and then you add your sugar, and you boil it up, and it's just super easy, simple syrup to make, and you can add that to your lemonade and add a very unique taste to it. Add two syrups to it. Add add something, a different component. Maybe even if you like fresh fruit, I love muddling like raspberries, strawberries,
Hmm.
cucumbers, even incorporating some of that into the lemonade. Either leaving it in the glass itself, or just just using the juice of it and pour it right in there.
I was
But
gonna
I
say a
definitely
lavender lemonade.
sorry.
I was gonna say a lavender lemonade. Nothing wrong with a good lavender lemonade with
Oh, gotta
rosemary
love,
and
yeah.
lemongrass. Sound amazing, actually. I might give that a try.
Monin. I'm sure you guys are familiar with Monin. Makes great syrups.
Yep.
Um,
Yes.
they have a lavender syrup I bought, and then a rose one. I love making a strawberry rose lemonade. Oh my
Oh,
god, it's
Ooh.
that
delicious.
sounds good. That sounds good.
Yes, and then you get some of those like syrup or strawberry slices and syrup, and you pour some of that in the bottom. Boom, you're set. So
I
you can
was
never
gonna
go wrong
say,
with it. And seltzer water. That's great too if you
of
like to
course.
carbonate it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Carry
I
on.
guess what we'll do is we'll leave our listeners with one question, and that is, what is your personal favorite cocktail that you've made, and what is the recipe? So if people want to give it a shot,
Yeah.
what is your? I guess I know we addressed it earlier, saying that you don't like when people ask you this, but what is your typical bartender's choice when you go?
Yeah. What
And
is your
what
choice?
is your favorite? What is your favorite go-to?
You're asking me, right?
Yes,
Yeah, I'm
yes.
asking you. I am asking you.
Guys, I'll answer that. Yeah. So whenever people ask me that, I'm like, oh my god, I can never know because when I go to bars, I am always straight up to like, you have a signature menu, awesome. I'm gonna order something from there. Um, but I can't really answer that question because I enjoy vodka, I enjoy rum, I enjoy whiskey, gin, tequila, mezcal. They all have their own things. I mean, vodka would probably be my least favorite, mainly because there's no typically vodka doesn't have any like flavors to it. There's
Right.
nothing much to work with. Um, you know, but all the other ones, they can be aged, they can be added like herbs and uh, spices and stuff, and make it have different flavors. I like trying new fruits and flavors. There's not really anything I don't like. But if
Right.
we were to go like what I would never order would be like Bloody Marys, anything with tomato juice.
Gotcha.
Um, uh, but honestly, I wouldn't have a go-to. When I go to a bar, I'd be like, okay, if you don't have a signature menu, I'm gonna stare at your wall for like 10 minutes.
You're
See
just
what
going
I
for an experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, can you put that together? Is that okay? If they're not busy, if they're busy,
Right.
I'm ordering
Of
something
course.
simple. Because totally respect, but
So
yeah, that's
Absolutely.
chat just said
always a tough question.
so chat says what about instead of what's good, what's the worst thing you've been asked to make?
I've been asked to make for myself or someone else,
For
I
someone
or
think for
else.
just
someone else, I
Yeah.
think is what
What's
they
the
mean.
worst thing you've been asked to make for somebody else?
oh my goodness. Um, I
I
guess
feel
if
like
we
you
were
and I
talking
would have very
about
interesting stories.
like taste, it could be like either taste wise or like worst interaction maybe of
I would say taste
well,
wise.
taste wise. Let's see. Well, there's been people who have, and just similar to how CJ was mentioning with baristas, is they'll come over and they'll ask me for like, hey, can you make um a cinnamon toast crunch with a tornado shark torpedo? And I'm like,
Oh,
what is that?
it's like
Like,
it's almost like dive bar terminology that they
yeah,
just throw at you, and
Mhm.
they expect you to know it because
yeah. Or it's
you're a
like, oh, we
mixologist.
saw this on a tipsy bartender, and it's like, oh, great, the guy who just puts a bunch of sugar together. And
Yeah.
I'm like, sure, and it's like I can't remember a specific cocktail that they've asked me to make, but there's been many times where they're like, hey, can you make this? and I'm happy to make it. No judgment at the end of the day. But
Right.
I'll look up the ingredients, and it's like like Frangelico, Bailey's, Kahlua, sugar, and then like sweetener, and then this, and then that, and I'm like, all this stuff just has sugar. Like, there's no alcohol component. There's no mixer in there to balance it out, and
Yeah.
it's like, you know, and I'm like, you
There's
know,
nothing to dilute all the
I'll taste it, and I'm
sweetness
like,
that
oh
they're
geez,
putting
you
in.
know, to each its own. But
Yeah.
uh, yeah, and also of course, Bloody Marys. I've made some before, and it's like, tomato juice is just gross.
Yeah. Yeah. Real quick, I want to talk about this. I have a personal prejudice against people who keep telling me that Bloody Marys are good. It's like, no. The
So
only thing
glad
that's
you're
good about tomatoes is when they're sun dried and you put them in a good salad, or as pizza sauce, or
That's
as
it.
like spaghetti sauce. That's it. That's it. Tomatoes, no, they're fine. You don't
Just
need to juice them. There's nothing wrong with that. But again, to each their own.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Just pizza sauce and ketchup for me.
That's fine. That's fine.
But yeah.
Chat said the company I work for has banned red damsels, a Red Bull,
Ooh.
blackcurrant syrup,
Mm.
half hard cider and half lager.
I have issues with people who put Red Bull into their drinks. I think
Well,
it's
Esteban
completely
likes the
unnecessary.
red beer.
Oh, really?
You like the
Okay.
Red
What was
Bull?
that?
I don't have a problem. Okay, what do you like about putting Red Bull into the drinks? I guess other than the caffeine, because I know the caffeine is like the big perk for a lot of people.
Well,
But
you
what do
use it
you
for
personally
like
about it?
use it for like the car bombs, right?
Those so. Oh yeah, not that I like it myself. I think
Mm.
you're mentioning that because you've seen it in my mini fridge, probably, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Seven.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So, funny enough, those are actually really old.
yeah.
Oh,
They might have already lost carbonation, but that was definitely from back in the day when I stocked up my bar with everything that you need for typical dive bar cocktails.
Oh,
I
okay.
still have like lots of ingredients in there that I'm like, oh, I don't use this as much, and definitely Red Bull is like number one on the list. It was just for the vodka sodas, or just drinks that had Red Bull in it, but not really so much that I enjoyed it. It was more like if I had people come over and they like drinking
got
that,
you.
it's like boom, you're set. If they
Yeah.
want Jaeger bombs because people want them, and I'm
Yeah.
not drinking anything else, I'll be like,
Yeah.
there you go, there they are.
I think.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, go ahead.
Oh no, I finished. It's okay.
Oh, I was gonna say. I think the big thing that a lot of people, when they get Red Bull or they integrate into cocktails, it's mainly for caffeine.
Yeah.
I know some people they like the pomegranate. I'm trying. I say pomegranate. I don't think Red Bull has a flavor. I'm gonna be honest. I've had it a couple times. It just tastes like gas to me. But
Much.
like for me, I stopped drinking energy drinks a long time ago. But like I understand like a lot of people for cocktails, I can see where like the heavy carbonation and the caffeine, that's like a big selling point for a cocktail.
Yeah.
But it's so difficult, I think, as like in like the mixology to like find a way to make it to balance it out. Because I think Red Bull, it's or any energy drink, it's so interesting because a lot of them are so distinct, but also all of them are so bad in their own, like they're all bad in the way of like they're either super sugary if they're trying to be. So like Monster, like the flavored monsters, they're all super sweet.
Yeah.
But they all have such a very distinct aftertaste that is not pleasant.
Right.
And then the caffeine perk is nice, but it's such an outrageous amount of caffeine, which is the point.
Yeah.
Which is why
Right.
coffee's better. But when it's at such a high dosage of it, I find it so difficult to try to dilute that into a sustainable amount while still keeping a good amount of flavor. I know. I don't know if this is out for you guys because you guys are both in Cali. You guys are both in Cali,
Yeah.
but there's a coffee chain up here in the north. I don't know exactly how far it goes out in the rest of the United States. It's called Big B Coffee.
No,
They're
never heard of
pretty
it.
okay. They're pretty okay.
I thought you were
remember
gonna
they
say
had-
caribou coffee, but no.
No, No, we used to have Caribou Coffee, and then Caribou Coffee went out, and now there's like a couple left. I think.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they went out of. They've technically gone out of business like 3 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe longer. It might have been way longer, but Big V Coffee, they have like an entire line uh of smoothies
Ew.
and they have like a Red Bull smoothie, which is just they take a can
Gross.
of Red Bull, they blend it up with ice, and I think they throw a couple things of fruit in it, and that's it.
Ew.
I remember trying it. I'm like, this is horrible. It's so difficult because, like I said, it's so difficult to try to find a balance. So like I hate the idea of putting Red Bull into drinks, but I respect the people that try because one, to each their own. That should be the selling. That's the name of the episode. To each their own. But
Yeah.
but it's like to find out how people try to achieve that balance is so interesting to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that red diesels that Tops was talking about, no, bad.
I can
Sounds
definitely
horrible.
agree. I can definitely agree. My beginning drinking days, I definitely have I've been a fan of vodka, Red Bull, and it was definitely just mainly because I had 5 a.m. work shifts, and I'd go out at like 11 p.m. and be like, I'm tired AF, but I'm trying to party AF. So I'm like, I need to wake up, and that was my go-to. So
Yeah.
Fair enough.
but that's funny. That reminds me of a really good story that I tell in this podcast. The creation, or a rumor of the creation of the espresso martini, which is, by the way, vodka with like coffee liqueur, which is typically Kahlua and cream, sometimes with extra like simple syrup,
Mhm.
shaken and garnished with like 3 espresso beans, which we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
But supposedly it was created out in a bar in London. I think it was called Fred's something. But supposedly this young lady, went up to a bartender and was like, "Give me something that will wake me up and then f me up."
I
And so the
remember.
bartender was
remember
like,
this
"Oh, we
story.
still have some coffee," and it's just like, okay, the combination of a stimulant and depressant. It's like crazy, but it's like he whipped that up and it became crazy popular.
Yeah. That's probably one
But
of
it's like,
one of my favorite, simple go-to cocktails if
oh
it's on the
yeah,
menu.
and it's a lot better because coffee is healthier, of course,
Yeah.
and of course, just like Level Up always says, and definitely better than all that sugar, and it's balanced out with the vodka and the or toned down the sweetness with the vodka and the cream,
Hmm.
so it's not as crazy sweet and intolerable or nasty aftertaste.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're gonna probably close it out here, guys.
Yeah, I was gonna
Before it
say.
gets too long, and I hate myself for having to edit this. So, so
Oh my
thanks for
God.
anybody that
Great.
showed up in the chat. Much appreciated. Any of the
Thanks,
lurkers,
guys.
all of everybody's appreciated. This will probably go out on Monday, depending on how long it takes me to edit this. So it may come out Monday, it may come out Tuesday. But keep your eyes on it. It'll be on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everywhere you can find a podcast. It will be there. So don't worry. If you want a bag of Level Up coffee, we're actually having trouble with the Facebook right now, so there's no orders. But keep your eye on Instagram and on Twitter. We'll let you know when that is available to be purchased. Hopefully, by the end of next week, it will be on our website. So levelupcoffee.com.
Awesome.
And like Esteban said, at Estebar Cocktails, Estebar _cocktails on Instagram. Give him a follow. He does some live streams. I got him to do one on Instagram.
I'm still trying to figure out what to do next, but
it would be really good, and yeah, it was great. Oh, and
Awesome.
White Fault is in the chat, so thanks White Fault for checking us out and creeping the stream. Much appreciated.
Absolutely.
And we'll see you guys in the next stream.
thanks guys for
Absolutely.
having me.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool.
Is it?
Oh no, it's running the Nerd or Die ad on my end.